The recording of this webinar will also be shared with you in a follow-up email along with the slide deck. So, no pressure to capture any notes or screenshots. All the good stuff will be sent to you afterwards. If you haven't joined a Zoom webinar before, the chat function is disabled. So if you have a question, use the Q&A box. This will make the Q&A way more efficient. We'll be gathering questions from here, both during the presentation and the Q&A session. And then we'll be answering all of the questions live after the presentation. So let's get started. This is this evening's agenda. We're first going to talk about SunShares and why you should consider going solar and or storage. We'll also talk about how the SunShares program works, and then we'll cover other things to consider when you're going solar. We'll go into next steps and talk about how to sign up. And then finally, we'll have our Q&A with this year's pre-vetted installers. Today, we have Solar Union and Solar Technologies here with us. So we've had a handful of people join since I started talking. For those of you joining now, hi, my name is Lauren Wan. I'll introduce our panelists at this time too. So panelists, if you could just wave when I call out your name. I have my colleague at BC3, Mara, helping. Hi, Mara. And then our SunShares pre-vetted installers are here. So we have Keenan from Solar Technologies, and then Carissa from Solar Union. So let's start off with SunShares. So Bay Area SunShares is a solar and storage discount program. What we do at BC3 is we pool the buying power of all 9 Bay Area counties to negotiate reduced prices for a limited time campaign every fall. So the goal of this program is to make clean energy more accessible and affordable, but also make the Bay Area more sustainable and resilient as a whole. All residents of the Bay Area are eligible to participate in this program, and the discount season is open now until December 15th, or November 15th, my apologies. And then, like I said, all residents of the Bay Area are eligible to participate, so this includes these 9 counties. Some of our installers may be able to provide service outside of these areas, and if you're curious, we just encourage you to sign up and find out. So SunShares has been a program of the Bay Area since 2012. We actually started as Solarize, and then we moved from the city of San Jose and now to the Business Council on Climate Change. So BC3 has been running the program since 2016, and we've installed over 5.8 megawatts of solar and over 200 plus battery storage units in the Bay Area. So we've helped a lot of people through this process and are always excited to be providing this service across the Bay Area. So SunShares is a program of the Business Council on Climate Change, also known as BC3. BC3 is a membership-driven nonprofit originally founded by the city and county of San Francisco, which is dedicated to tackling climate change issues. So we do this through what we call a Learn, Act, and Solve framework, which helps the Bay Area collectively accelerate meaningful climate action. So SunShares is actually one of the many programs that we run, and BC3's role here today is to educate you about the SunShares program and other clean energy options so that you can make the best decision for you and your home. So before we get started, I'm actually curious what you're interested in learning about. So we all took time out of our day to be here. And I'm going to send out a quick poll to, see what you're interested, whether it's solar, storage, or clean energy options. So we're going to launch this poll and give you about a minute or so to answer. All right, so we have a few more answers coming in. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Great. And then I'll end the poll and I'll share the results so you can see too. It looks like most of you are interested in solar and battery storage, but also a handful of you are curious about other clean energy options. The good news is that we're going to be covering all 3 of these topics today, so you won't miss anything. All right. So now that we know what you're most interested in, let's talk about why you should consider going solar or storage. So I'll start off by saying now is a great time to go solar, and there's numerous reasons. The first reason I would say is financial. So this fall is an especially great time to go solar since you can stack the SunShares discount and the federal solar investment tax credit to fight inflation or any rising energy prices. So if you haven't heard of it before, the federal solar investment tax credit was recently extended, and it provides homeowners a 30% tax credit for the cost of their system. So if you've been thinking about solar, now is a great time to do so to get some extra savings. And then environmental, this next decade is our last chance to avoid the most severe impacts of climate change, and installing solar or storage will not only eliminate your home's greenhouse gas emissions from electricity use, but it will also make the electrical grid cleaner for everyone. And then economic, the solar industry is one of the leading creators of jobs in the United States, and clean energy as a whole is one of the biggest employers in the energy sector. So you can support the renewable energy industry and clean jobs by installing solar or storage or opting up to 100% renewable energy. And then the last is resilience. So to be resilient to the effects of climate change, we need a localized, decentralized energy system, and getting solar helps us get there. So distributed solar power helps balance the energy grid by reducing strain on central power plants and enhancing overall grid stability. So this benefits not just you, but everyone else in your community. So solar panels have been around for decades and are known as a reliable technology, but home battery storage technology we use today is actually newer and it's growing in popularity. So we'll cover why adding storage to a solar system is beneficial. So first and foremost, adding storage to your solar system means that your lights will stay on during a public safety power shutoff or any other sort of power outage. Solar on its own will actually not keep your electricity running during an outage. It needs a battery to store that energy and then feed it back into your home. With a battery installed, you can, store excess energy generated during sunny hours and use it when it's most needed, so during the evening, and then this reduces your waste and optimizes your energy use. Battery storage systems that allow customization or preferential exporting can also get you more savings on your electricity bills. So depending on where you get your power from or what kind of plan you're on, you might be on a time of use rates plan. And by charging from the grid when electricity is cheapest and then discharging your solar energy onto the grid when electricity is most expensive, you can offset your electricity bill with solar. And then all of the options that are, all of the battery options other installers offer have this feature. So we'll cover some basics on solar and battery interaction. Solar panels, as you're familiar, collect energy from the sun through PV cells, and then batteries can store the excess energy that you produce with your panels. Net energy is probably a term that you've heard before. This is the amount of energy you produce minus the amount of energy you consume. So you've probably heard of the term net energy metering. Net energy metering is, and we're currently on NEM 3.0, also known as Net Billing Tariff NBT, a lot of acronyms out there. But this is a billing mechanism that credits the solar energy system owners for the electricity that they export to the grid. So for example, if a home has a solar system on the roof, it might generate more electricity than the home uses during the daylight hours. And then that electricity is sent back to the grid to fulfill the needs of other customers, or it's stored in a battery. During the nighttime, when the solar system is not producing energy, the home will either pull electricity from the grid or from home batteries if they're installed. So with net metering, customers can receive credits for the electricity provided to the grid, but they're also charged for any electricity used from the grid. Then customers are billed for their net energy use, so either monthly or annually in some cases. And then in California, the rules for net energy metering are regulated by the California Public Utilities Commission. And we'll talk about some of the changes around NEM later in this presentation. So now we'll talk about how the SunShares program works. So you have a few different options with SunShares, and I know you're probably all at different stages of this process. Some of you might be at the very beginning stages of educating yourself about clean energy and rooftop solar. And some of you may have had solar for years and want to find ways to become even more resilient, maybe by upgrading your system or adding a battery. Before we get into the options, either way, you're eligible for SunShares every year, no matter the situation. So if you've installed solar with SunShares and you're back for a battery, you are eligible for the discount again. SunShares installers do offer rooftop solar installations. So, like I mentioned earlier, with solar on your home, you can generate your own clean energy and offset the cost of your current electricity bill. They also offer the option to install both solar panels and home battery storage. So this gets you all of the benefits of solar we mentioned, plus the reassurance that you have power stored in case of an outage. And then finally, if you already have solar panels installed on your roof, you have the option to add a battery unit to your existing system. So that means you can now store the energy that you've been producing and keep the lights on when the power goes out. So why should you go solar with SunShares? There are a few things that set us apart from other options out there. So with SunShares, you'll be working with high quality solar installers. BC3 does the research of finding a quality installer that we trust. So we selected 2 providers this year through a rigorous pre-vetting process, who we've made sure aren't there to pressure you or rush you through this process. They're committed to helping you make the best decision for yourself. And then as part of our evaluation process, we also negotiate significant discounts on quality solar and storage offerings from our installers off their regular pricing. And this helps Bay Area residents get some extra savings on their solar and battery storage systems. So our prices are also turnkey, meaning that they reflect the whole cost of getting solar, from equipment to labor and permitting. And then finally, with SunShares, you have the opportunity to compare and receive different proposals from one place. So this way you can get to know your options and feel like you can make a good decision. This doesn't come with any commitment, so you can go through the process of having a consultation with an installer and getting a proposal with no obligation to install. So there's no kind of penalty if you don't end up signing a contract with an installer. So the selected installers for this year are Solar Union and Solar Technologies. These installers are chose through a proposal evaluation and price negotiation process with an external volunteer evaluation committee. So this committee is comprised of members who are experts in the local solar and storage market, who are nominated by some of our outreach partners. This includes city partners, so the city of Berkeley, the city of Palo Alto. We select these installers based on a number of criteria. So we're looking at their product offerings, what kind of panels or modules they're offering this year, also battery units. We also assess the quality of their customer service and then the competitiveness of their pricing. Another thing we look for is we make sure the installers are properly licensed and then also provide labor and equipment warranties and also system monitoring. So these are quality installers that we trust and we've done our homework on. So one of the benefits of participating in SunShares is that you can make an apples to apples comparison between our selected installers. When you're going solar, every project is unique, and receiving proposals from different installers, it can be really difficult to compare and contrast your proposals. So SunShares kind of presents it easy with a sample price per watt for both of our installers, so you can make a direct comparison. So this shows our exact product offerings in terms of solar panels for the 2024 season. All of this info is available on their website, and I'll share the link in a second. But these are the sample prices that reflect the SunShares discount, and they're listed in a price per watt. So that dollar amount that you see will be multiplied by the final wattage of your system. And then in that dollar watt price, that includes everything that goes into the installation. So system design, permits, warranties, equipment, labor, monitoring. Something you also want to keep in mind is that pricing may be different based on design, and additional costs can apply. And you should definitely directly discuss this with your installer. This can be based on a number of different factors like your roof type or other like electrical or structural factors. So I will share the link for this table in the chat, and then you can access this on their website. But if you're interested in looking at pricing, feel free to click that link. And then these are also the batteries that our installers are offering this season. So this is also the sample pricing for these models. These prices are inclusive of the SunShares discount, and there are different prices based on whether you're pairing a battery with a solar installation or just adding a battery to an existing system. These prices are also battery unit, and they include the unit itself, the system's design, permit, and the labor that goes into installing this unit. And this table is also on that link that I shared earlier. So what does the SunShares process look like? If you're interested, you would sign up on our website by filling out a quick form. And then in that form, you can choose which installers that you want to receive proposals from. Then installers will contact you about conducting a home assessment, which can be virtual or a site visit. They'll start the process of designing a solar system for your home and creating a customized proposal. So you'll receive a proposal from each installer that you selected to hear from, and then you have until December 15th to sign a contract and lock in that discounted pricing that you saw in that proposal. How do you know if your house is right for solar and or storage? One of the most important factors for solar is the amount of sun that you get on your roof. So when installers contact you after you signed up, they're going to evaluate a few different things. They'll look at your roof type and your angle. They'll also look at how much space you have. And in some situations, this can increase your costs. So you definitely want to verify this with installers. They're also going to assess your energy usage. This will help determine your system size. And then if you're interested in storage, they're going to look up your backup needs. Essentially, the longer you want to be able to power your home during an outage, the greater maximum capacity you'll want in a battery. And then the more appliances or lights you want to be able to power at a time with a battery, the higher power rating you should look for. So what's happening in the solar and storage industry? Simply put, residential solar market is rapidly changing. So as recently as a year ago, module availability was a constraint for the industry, and that's changed. So not only has the global solar supply chain expanded, but module imports to the US and domestic quarterly production has risen significantly over the last year. So although inventory levels are high and module availability is no longer a major constraint, there are numerous solar tariff policy changes in the last 3 months that can cause supply chain disruptions and other delays at different stages of the process. So you definitely want to communicate with installers about the timeline of your project, and also keep in mind that timelines can be different between installers. Another thing to look out for, incentives and rebates are coming out. So the Inflation Reduction Act was passed in 2022, and this includes the extension of the 30% solar investment tax credit. I'll talk about this on the next slide. And then NEM 3.0 or NBT, which I mentioned earlier, will apply to those installing solar this year. The current demand for solar and batteries is also pretty high right now. So a lot of people are recognizing that it's an important time to switch to clean energy. So the timeline of your installation is truly dependent on your project needs, what type of installation you're getting, if you need a re-roof, a bunch of different factors. So there are changes in the solar process that reflect the current industry, and we definitely encourage you to talk to your installer about the specifics of your project. So in 2022, the Inflation Reduction Act was signed into law, and this included the expansion of the solar ITC or investment tax credit. So this investment tax credit was increased to 30% and then extended for 10 more years. It was actually set to expire. So those who install solar before 2032 can claim this tax credit for a percentage of the cost of their solar system or battery unit. We recommend talking to a tax advisor about eligibility and how exactly to claim this tax credit. And then one policy that went into effect last year is the change in net energy metering. So residents who install solar this year will enroll in net billing tariff or NBT. So if you've heard of NEM 2.0, this mechanism is similar to NEM as it credits the customer for energy sent back to the grid. But there are some key differences between NEM 2.0 and NBT. So customers under NBT are required to use an electrification rate instead of time of use. And these electrification rates have higher on-peak charges and lower off-peak charges than NEM 2.0. They still do share a peak period of 4 to 9 p.m. And then NBT customers are also billed monthly rather than annually. And then compensation for solar energy sent to the grid under NBT is based off of different export rates, which are specific to the month, hour, whether it's a weekday, weekend. So for example, the export value is lower during the middle of the day when there's ample sun, but it's higher during the evening hours. So this value of export compensation is usually lower than the retail rate for electricity, but it can rise above retail rate on early fall evenings or late summer evenings. Battery storage systems with preferential exporting are a great way of making use of energy that would normally be sent to the grid for low value. And then for transparency, this is new policy for California solar. So a lot of stakeholders are still kind of figuring out how to proceed. Ultimately, the payback for solar and battery systems under NBT will look different from those who are under NEM 2.0. That said, going solar and storage is still advantageous for electricity bill savings, and this is dependent on how you design your system with your solar installer. So we definitely encourage you to work closely with installers so that you can design a system that works best for you and with your savings in mind. So now we'll talk about some of the other clean energy options out there in the Bay Area. But before we go into that, I'd like to send out another poll. And this poll is, what stage are you currently at in your clean energy journey? And we'll give you 30 seconds or so to answer. Great. We have a few more answers coming in. I'll leave the poll open for a second. Okay. And I'll share the results. So it looks like a lot of you are just starting to learn about clean energy options. It's always great to hear that people have already implemented clean energy into their life and they're looking for more ways. So I want to talk about one option that both homeowners and renters can do, and this is increasing the demand for utility renewable energy by harnessing clean energy to your home. And you can do this without installing solar. So all Bay Area residents have the option to receive 100% renewable energy from their energy provider, whether it's a CCA or a utility. Every energy provider in the Bay Area has an option for a 100% renewable energy plan. There's a lot of different names for them out there. This table kind of shows you the breakdown. It's anywhere from like super green to total green, evergreen. But depending on which plan you choose or what utility, or if you're in a CCA, it can cost $5 to $10 extra per month, even less than that sometimes. And you can upgrade easily online. We have instructions available on the SunShares website on how to find your electricity provider and all the links to the renewable energy plans on our website. So if you're looking for a place that has a similar breakdown to this table, this is a good place to check that out. If you're considering going solar, it's also important to make sure that you're designing your solar system to accommodate not just your current energy usage, but also your future energy needs. So for example, you can get the most out of your solar system by improving your energy efficiency, which will help reduce your consumption, and switching to electric appliances like your heat water or your stove, and then also electrifying your transportation. So if you're interested in learning more on how to improve your home's energy efficiency or about switching your home or ride to electric, we will be having a webinar next month on October 9th. We'll have an energy advisor from Fear Result present. Ride and Drive Clean will talk about discounts for EVs and e-bikes, and then Switches On can inform you about rebates and incentives that are outside of Bay Area SunShares that are also available in your area. So now we'll go into next steps and walk you through how to sign up. So in order to claim the SunShares discount, you'll want to sign up and fill out the form on our website before November 15th. Our installers will contact you and they'll work with you to create a customized proposal, and then you'll have time to review those installer proposals you receive. If you decide to go solar and you like what you see, sign your contract before December 15th to lock in that discounted pricing that you saw in your proposal. And if you've already signed up, please be on the lookout for any calls or emails from our installers. They will be reaching out to you. I'll share the link for the form to sign up for the SunShares discount in the chat. And I'll also show you what the form looks like in our next slide. So this is our form on our website. You can find this at the link that I just shared, but all of these fields are mandatory. Make sure you hit submit at the bottom, and that will send your information to the pre-vetted installers, and they'll be able to contact you about getting you a solar proposal. So we'll have a couple more slides and then we'll go into Q&A. So just a recap on resources and links. Again, no pressure to remember this. All of this stuff will be posted in the follow-up email, and then we'll also have the recording of this webinar shared afterwards. But here's kind of the summary of the links that we shared. So we have that electrification webinar coming up next month. If you're interested, that's a free webinar for anyone to attend. If you want instructions about opting up to renewable energy, I've also shared the link for that below. And then if you want to secure the discount and you're curious about getting connected with a pre-vetted installer, fill out that form at the last link. And now we'll go into Q&A time. So we have a lot of questions already, and my apologies if we don't get to yours in time. We'll be prioritizing the most commonly asked questions, and then kind of bucketing similar questions. So while I queue up the first question, why don't we have both of our installers just kind of briefly introduce themselves, maybe just 10 seconds. Keenan, we can start with you and then go to Carissa.
Great, thanks, Lauren. I'm Keenan. I'm with Solar Technologies here, and yeah, this is my 8th year involved in the program, so it's been a great success, and I look forward to answering your questions and hopefully meeting with some of you pretty soon here.
Hi guys, my name's Carissa Gallo, and I'm with Solar Union, a Diamond certified company. I've been with the company for about 7 years, and our headquarters is in San Francisco, so we serve the whole Bay Area, and looking forward to answering your questions and talking more with you guys and providing you with some proposals.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carissa and Keenan, for joining us. So our first question is it possible to install solar on townhomes? Let's see, this attendee's townhome is 3 stories high and doesn't really have any roof access from the inside home, and the roof is also shared, but the HOA has agreed for solar installation. How would that project kind of land with the installers? And anyone can take this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's totally feasible. If HOA has approval, I mean, that's the biggest help. But yeah, with 3 stories high, probably just using the largest ladders we have. But you know, doable. We would just kind of probably want to take a look at, you know, satellite imagery, some street view, and maybe an on-site analysis. But definitely sounds feasible.
Anything to add there, Carissa?
Nope, I think Keenan pretty much well covered that. We definitely have experience installing on townhomes and duplexes, triplexes, those type of things. So it should not be a problem.
Another question I see is if I sign a contract for solar, do I have to have the installation done by a specific date? Also need to remove an 18-year-old system and re-roof. So you don't need to have your installation done by a certain date. If you want to lock in the SunShares discounted pricing, you just want to sign your contract before December 15th. That's the contract signing deadline. There is a question about re-roofs, and maybe both installers can cover what kind of help they offer with re-roof jobs. So why don't we start with you, Carissa, and then Keenan?
Sure. So yeah, with Solar Union, we are partnered up with several different roofing companies that serve through the whole entire Bay Area. So if you do need to get your roof done, it's not going to be a problem. We will help provide an estimate to you for the roof, and we'll coordinate all the work with the roofing company to make sure that the project schedule, goes as planned. And we've had great success with our customers that do need to re-roof. It's always a good thing because having a new roof and having your solar on the same project timeline is a win-win type of situation for you. So definitely glad to help.
Yeah, same here. We do have roofing partners that we can coordinate with, and it would be good timing if it's necessary for the solar portion. So yeah, we can coordinate the re-roof and pretty standard. So not a problem.
Kind of along the same lines of roof questions, will installers be able to assess the roof condition to determine if new roof or shingles should be installed before solar? And then anyone can take it.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of the first steps in the process is scheduling a site inspection and having one of our technicians go out there on site to inspect the roof. So they'll look at the condition of the roof. They'll look to see if there's any signs of any leaking or any type of issues with the roof. And of course, we will help address those issues if needed with roof repairs or total roof replacement if needed.
Anything to add to that, Keenan?
No, yeah, that's great. Yeah, we can certainly do a roof analysis and kind of assess the condition and see if it's still in good shape and life expectancy, all that good stuff. So not a problem there either.
I see a couple questions about how does adding panels to an existing system work? I think anyone can take this one.
So the one thing to consider when adding panels to an existing system is your net energy metering status, whether you're on net metering 1.0 or net metering 2.0. They do have certain requirements that you can only add up to 10% of your current solar system size without altering your net metering agreement. So typically that's around 1 kilowatt of power that you could add. So there are some limitations regarding that with PG&E and changing your net metering status, but there are some potential workarounds with that as well. So we'd be happy to discuss it with you.
Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, we just want to be mindful of remaining years, what energy meter you're on, the current status, so we don't, bump you into 3.0 with an expansion. And then yeah, there are alternatives to like a zero export situation. So, but for the most part, yeah, we just want to look at the years left and be mindful of that.
And then we have a question about the kind of battery storage placement. One attendee is wondering if you can place a battery in a crawl space or an exterior wall. Maybe we can both cover like kind of what you're looking for in terms of placement for batteries.
Yeah, so typically the best location to place the battery is going to be next to the inverter, which also wants to be placed next to the main service panel. So we generally try to find a wall, exterior wall of the home that's as close as possible to your main service panel, just to avoid long conduit runs. But when it comes to a crawl space, it may be possible to install it in a crawl space as long as it is accessible and as long as it doesn't pose any safety hazards. But generally speaking, exterior wall is normally where it's going to go. We do have a few situations in which we also place them inside a person's garage. So there's definitely multiple options for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, indoor, outdoor rated. We can look at either situation. When we do go interior, like a garage or crawl space, things like that. Heat detectors, smoke alarms might be some added equipment, and yeah, just want to look at each city or county. Fire department. There are a little different regulations per the code based on the location, but yeah, we can definitely explore the options, and yeah, close proximity to the electrical panels is helpful.
And then I'm seeing a couple of questions about installing on different roof types. Maybe each installer can cover what kind of roof types they do or don't install on, or if there's any kind of special mounting needed for certain roof types. We can start with Keenan and then go to Carissa.
Yeah, I mean, generally any roof type. I mean, we want to be mindful of the age, the life expectancy. I did notice a clay tile question. Certain tiles we just want to be careful. A true clay or a Spanish style can be really, fragile. So, there could be some roofing coordination there. Composition shingle inlays. So certainly can work. Anything's doable, but we just kind of want to be mindful of the condition of the roof and the type, and then that's how we can determine the mounts and what's feasible. But some are very fragile, so potentially a re-roof would be an alternative to get the panels in the system up there.
And Carissa.
Yeah, so at Solar Union, we install on pretty much almost every type of roof that you can imagine, everything from composition shingles to flat roof installations, which we happen to specialize in. We also install on metal roofs, wood shake, clay tile, concrete tile. So whatever type of roof you have, we can most likely handle it. The only particular roofs that pose some challenges would be the clay tile that Keenan mentioned. And in that type of situation, we do end up having to re-roof underneath the solar panel array, but we make sure that it's not visible, so you won't even really notice that there's a new roof placed under there. And the purpose for that is mostly for safety reasons, because those clay tiles are very fragile and can be broken very easily. So to protect and preserve the roof and make sure that there's no leaks, that's the way that we would do it. But yeah, we can definitely handle those types of projects. So be happy to talk more about that in a consultation.
And then I'm seeing some questions about battery storage. One attendee is wondering kind of what's the efficiency of battery storage, expected lifetime, if there's, a cost to replace it when needed, or how long is the battery life? What's the return on investment for batteries? Anyone can take this one, and if another installer has something to add, that's fine too.
Oh yeah. Our offering with storage is the Powerwall 3 this year with SunShares. Does have a 10-year warranty. At year 10, it's 70% energy retention. So really just kind of want to avoid like a really sunny southern facing wall. It can certainly last longer than 10 years. Unlimited number of daily cycles. And then, our recommendation, number of batteries would be on your electric consumption, future electric consumption that would determine, your savings, your payback, your overall investment. So kind of would tailor it, case by case, but and look at whole home backup, the options for the event of a power outage, as well as just your daily savings. So
Anything to add, Carissa?
Great. So at Solar Union, we offer, thank you, Lauren. We offer both a DC coupled backup storage system and an AC coupled storage system. The DC coupled storage system being the more efficient option out of the two, where it can pull the direct current from the solar panel straight to the battery, and then the inverter will convert it one time to AC. So that energy conversion is only happening one time with the DC coupled system. Whereas with an AC coupled system, which is more suitable for people who have microinverters like Enphase, we would utilize an AC coupled storage system, which is made by Panasonic. So we've got those two options, and the DC coupled system is made by SolarEdge.
This question is kind of similar along those lines, Carissa. Does DC current from solar panels go to battery storage directly, or does it go through the inverter first and then is reconverted again as DC?
Yeah, so the DC current will go directly into the battery. It essentially kind of bypasses the inverter, and it doesn't get converted until the energy is pulled from the battery, in which it is then converted from DC to AC at the inverter. So that is why the DC system is more efficient, because you're able to take that direct current straight from the panel straight into the battery.
And then I'm seeing a couple questions about leasing and financing options. Maybe both installers can cover what kind of financing options they offer. Keenan, we can start with you and then go to Carissa.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have all three, like cash, loan, lease, and happy to put together any financing options, depending on your preferences, and the cash is listed on the website, of course, and then we can quote that directly based on your system. And then we do have some financing partners depending on loan versus lease, and local credit unions that we work with in the Bay Area as well, depending on your location. So certainly can put together some monthly financing options also.
Great. And then at Solar Union, we believe that solar ownership is really the way to go. So we do not offer any leasing options at this time, but we do have some outstanding financing options for customers that want to go solar for zero down without, putting any upfront investment. So we work with a handful of different banks and credit unions, all that offer really competitive interest rates. We're seeing rates as low as 4.59% for a 25-year term. So we're able to offer really low monthly payments that will help make it more affordable for you to go solar.
Thank you both. Another attendee is wondering, is there a solar maximum for residents? Or maybe is there kind of a minimum size that you'll install? That's also a good question to group with.
We do have a minimum. Typically it's like 6 or 7 panels, kind of in the 2 kilowatt range. And then really no limitation there. But we want to kind of size it kind of custom based on your electric usage and your property and everything. So, but yeah, happy to. It's going to be kind of case by case and a really custom design.
Anything to add there?
Yeah, with Solar Union, our minimum system size is going to be around 8 panels, which is close to about a 3 kilowatt system. So that would be on the smaller side of the project offerings that we have. And then in terms of a maximum, I believe for residential, the maximum that PG&E allows is 30 kilowatts, which would be up in the hundreds of panels. So pretty uncommon to see hundreds of panels on a residential home, but occasionally we do see that from time to time. However, for commercial projects, there's not going to be any maximum.
And then we're getting a couple of questions about battery and backup needs. Maybe one of the installers or both can kind of cover what happens during the consultation process and assessing backup needs for batteries. The ones I'm looking at in particular, attendees wondering, like, if we get a battery, is it possible to get a battery big enough so that we don't pull from PG&E at all? Or like, if you use a battery at night, does this limit backup time if there's a power outage? This can go to anyone.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, we want to, look for backup situations, whether it's like a whole home or a partial. That's going to be kind of custom based on your electrical panels. So, in the event of a PG&E shut off, so that's kind of how we can size it and customize that. And then also, we would size the storage system and the batteries based on your electric consumption. So a little bit of both, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit case by case, and and we can look at your backup goals and then, you know, your kind of savings you want to look for as well.
Yeah, and generally speaking, when it comes to backup, we aim to provide a solution that is going to provide an indefinite amount of power, not necessarily forever, but we design it for at least 12 hours of backup so that you have enough power to get you through the evening hours. Because in a situation where you're dealing with an outage, you really just need to have enough power to get you through the time of day when the sun is not shining, because when the sun rises again the next day, it will start to recharge those batteries. So generally, we try to design it for roughly around 12 hours of backup, which would be based upon the customer's energy consumption. So we factor in all of that when sizing the battery system and how many batteries that you'll need to fully back up the home. And we do also provide options for partial home backup for homeowners that just want to back up their basic essentials like fridge and lighting, but don't want to necessarily back up the whole home. We have that as an option, or the customer can back up the entire home. So those are the options that we provide.
So I'm seeing a lot of questions about pricing in our Q&A box, and I just want to cover that. So the SunShares discount is 10% off of our installer's regular turnkey battery unit, and then 15% for regular turnkey solar panels. This is not based on market prices. So if you Google average price for solar in California and you find something that's not in line with SunShares price, keep in mind it's not a discount based off of that. This is off our installers' regular pricing that they offer outside of the SunShares season. And then any prices about average price in here, we're probably not going to have time to cover those, but the best way to get that answers is just to sign up and have a consultation with either of our installers. They'll be able to get you a more accurate answer by looking at your energy usage. They'll, build a customized proposal, and then they can go over, payback expectations. Another question that I'm seeing in the chat is, can I only install a battery, then use portable solar panels to feed it into rather than a rooftop panel? And I think anyone can answer this one.
So when it comes to portable solar panels like that, those are, really great for applications like if you have an RV or if you need to be traveling around doing some camping, things of that nature. But the way that the solar is, connected to the inverter and everything like that, it does require electrical knowledge, extensive electrical knowledge. So, connecting portable solar panels to the battery wouldn't necessarily be the best idea. It would be best to utilize the stationary solar panels on the roof to connect to the battery, and that's going to be the way to power up your battery. Or potentially even using a generator in the wintertime. If you had a generator, we do provide generator support, so you could charge your batteries from a generator, or you could also utilize the grid to charge your batteries that way as well.
Anything to add there, Keenan?
No, yeah, that's pretty spot on. Yeah, we'd recommend, a kind of a roof install or even a ground mount, but yeah, typically with the storage units that we're installing, kind of want to appropriate size the solar system, and something portable, would not be recommended.
And then I'm seeing a question about if there's lists for potential rebates, discounts available, including city and county, other options. Couple of good places to look at if you aren't aware. Switch is On, which will be attending our webinar on October 9th, has an incentives and rebate finder. Quit Carbon is also an option if you want a home electrification plan that's custom to your home. They'll also give you resources on incentives and rebates, and you actually can find them on our sign-up form. So those are two places that are great for checking out incentives and rebates that are local to you. We have another question about warranties on material and labor. Maybe both installers can cover what kind of warranties they offer.
Yeah, so we offer a 25-year workmanship warranty at Solar Union, and that covers all the components of the system. So the solar panels, the inverter, and the battery system. And the actual manufacturer's warranties that cover the parts come from the manufacturer. So we offer Panasonic as our main panel option, and then also Q-Cell. Both of them provide a 25-year manufacturer's warranty that covers parts, labor, and performance. So they're very comprehensive. And the biggest piece to kind of keep in mind is the inverter, because that's the main part of the system that will need to be replaced over the years. And our inverters are made by Solar Edge, and we purchase a 25-year extended warranty on that as well. That covers parts and labor. So when your inverter breaks, we just come out and swap it out for a new one at no cost to you. And that's a huge cost savings, because there are many manufacturers that offer limited warranties of only 10 to 15 years on the inverter, but we purchase a 25-year extended warranty so that the customer will have that covered the full 25 years.
Yeah, we have a few different options for each. For solar panels, we have 3 options. REC, 25-year comprehensive warranty. Maxion Solaria would be a comprehensive 30-year warranty for the solar panel. And then up from that would be the Maxion 430s would have a 40-year comprehensive warranty for the solar panel. So 3 options on the solar panels depending on your goals and preferences, and we could price them all out for your system. And then battery 10 years for the Powerwall 3, and then inverters. If we did do microinverters from Enphase, 25 years for those as well on the comprehensive warranty. And then our own workmanship warranty is 10 years on the installation, and then the roof warranty would be dependent on the roof type for our crews warranting that as well.
Great. Thank you both. Another attendee says they have a new construction project and they're wondering when is the best time to get solar involved. They said they're starting construction in November. I think anyone can take this one.
Yeah, I mean, kind of coming up there a month or so away. With new construction, it would be ideal to have like a solar battery plan set. And then our crews and our electricians, we do include internal wiring, any roofing coordination as the build happens. Before walls close up would be kind of the biggest step with internal wiring, and then so yeah, good to have us involved or just solar involved before you get kind of things closed up and having a plan set before that.
Anything to add there, Carissa?
No, I think Keenan really well explained that.
Awesome. Another attendee's wondering, like, why can't solar generation be used without a battery? So they're wondering, like, why can't you island with solar? Carissa, do you want to answer this one? And then Keenan, if you have anything to add, we'll go from there.
Sure, absolutely. So the reason why you can't power your home with solar alone without a battery is because solar is like any other appliance. It all plugs into your main service panel into a new breaker. And when the power is turned off, the whole system shuts off. And the primary reason for that is because the inverter requires a little bit of power in order to run and convert the energy from DC to AC power. So when your inverter shuts off, it will shut off the entire system. And the other reason for why it's designed that way is really involved with safety, because there's likely going to be PG&E employees working on the power line. So you can't be putting energy back into power lines that could potentially electrocute a PG&E worker. So that's part of why it is designed to shut off when the power goes off.
Anything to add, Keenan, or all good?
No, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it automatically shut down with the outage, and then you could still just get solar panels these days. Just adding storage, batteries would just kind of in the end increase your energy savings under the net billing tariff. So yeah, that's what we would encourage.
And then a couple of attendees are wondering, is it possible to install solar panels on a carport roof? Keenan, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah. I mean, certainly feasible. If it's like detached, there could be trenching. We'd want to look at the structure itself, being permitted and the framing of it and everything like that. But certainly doable. Just could be kind of more custom with the electrical run and how far it is to the service panel and things like that. But certainly can look into it further.
Anything to add, Carissa?
Yeah, we have partners that we work with that can help install a carport for you. So if it comes down to needing the actual carport to be installed, we can definitely partner up with some contractors that we work with that have experience installing carports. So we can help throughout the whole process of getting the carport set up and then designing the solar array on the carport and figuring out all those logistics that Keenan mentioned about potentially trenching and getting all the wiring over to the main house or the main panel.
Another attendees also wondering, is it possible to run on solar panels and battery storage if the system is large enough without tapping into the grid at all? Maybe Carissa, we can start with you and then move to Keenan if there's anything else.
Yeah, so it will really depend on the energy consumption. So if there are any major spikes, like for example, using air conditioning is one of those major kind of heavy appliances that uses a lot of power. In situations like that, you may end up still pulling some energy from the grid, and also doing laundry and things of that nature. So to be, completely off the grid is not really an option in PG&E territory, unfortunately, but the battery will very largely support the vast majority of the usage, minus those, heavy usage items like air conditioning and laundry.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we're mostly grid tied and maybe at times in the winter or larger loads like that, you could draw still from the grid, but the ability to export, we would, generally encourage, grid tied and, kind of sizing the system appropriate for your usage.
And then we're getting close to time, so I think we have time for 2 more questions. One really quick one. Do either installers offer EV chargers with installs?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And yes, from Keenan too. Perfect. And then we have time for one more. I'm seeing a couple questions about installation timelines. Just keep in mind, this is really specific to your project, but we have both installers just kind of cover what your average timeline is currently. That might open up a rabbit hole, but give you a good estimate. And we can start with, yeah, Carissa, that's fine.
Okay, great. Yeah. So generally speaking, our timeline is usually around 6 to 9 weeks after you sign your contract to when you get to your installation. And that's just general. So each area is a little bit different. It depends on the city jurisdiction and the permitting process, how long that takes. So some cities take longer than others to issue permits. But that's a general guideline around 6 to 9 weeks. And then, of course, the other factors that can affect the timeline would be whether or not you need to do any other structural improvements like re-roofing the house or doing an electrical improvement like a main service panel upgrade. Those things can cause the project to, be slightly longer time frame than you would if you didn't need those other improvements. So it is, on a case-by-case basis. It depends.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, certainly case by case, and depending on the city and the project scope, permitting, engineering reviews. Some jurisdictions are definitely a little tougher or just longer than others, but we're kind of in the 5 to 6 month range, kind of depending on the project scope and everything. Could certainly be sooner, but just kind of depending on the build and everything. But yeah, we handle the whole process in house and engineering, permitting, final inspection. So. But happy to kind of discuss further, case by case.
Well, thank you both for, taking the time to answer a lot of questions. We are at 6 o'clock, so we're going to close out now. But if your question didn't get answered, we do have an FAQ page on our website. So the answer to your question might be in there today. Also, if you had a project specific question or question about savings or payback, or just project specifics or stuff about the tax credit, sign up with SunShares and talk with an installer. They're going to provide you with the most accurate answer, and you're also not committing to anything when you sign up. So you can get one-on-one time with an installer after you fill out that form. But with that said, thank you so much everyone for joining, and have a great evening.